just missed it.
We're like all jumper, dog. No.
Come on. We're more jumper.
Fucking bad knees, dog.
More jumper. All right, we're back. Masonic Smoker Podcast. You already know. #1 sponsor in the world. Shout out Central Coast Garden Products. If you don't got root cleaner, you ain't got green cleaner, then you probably got dirty roots and your plants probably ain't green and clean. So make sure you grab yourself some green cleaner. Make sure you grab yourself some root cleaner. I use green cleaner in my garden. You should too. Go to MasonicsOnFairfax.com, man. I slashed some of the prices. Very, very low quantities available on the fanny pack and the action figure. I'm the first and only breeder with an action figure. Notice I said first. Man, I keep dropping these. I'm so sorry, guys. All right, Masonic Smoker Podcast Patreon. I would appreciate if every single person, we get about 1,000 viewers any given video. If all 1,000 of you guys went and became a Patreon member, that would really make me and Frank happy.
Yeah.
That'd make us so happy.
Yeah.
So go become a Patreon member today. MasonicSeeds.co, home of the award-winning genetics at award-winning prices. Go tap in Banana God, Strawberries and Cream Grease Monkey Wilson, Sour Diesel Wilson, Wilson crossed into whatever fucking given cross, award-winning variety.
Pancake
tap the fucking
butt.
Pancake weed. All right. We got Frank Castillo in the house. You know, Super Bowl's finest commercial. #1 commercial, baby. Let's go. We're going to run that shit all year. We're not going to stop talking about it to the next Super Bowl.
Yeah, Planters Peanuts now sponsors this pot. No, I'm just
Hey, Planters, holla at your boy.
Hey,
you know, already.
we plant too, dog.
We eat peanuts
plant.
while we fucking mid-shot. Just peanuts.
We Planters right now, dog. We ain't got no allergies.
Bring the peanuts. You're back by popular demand.
Yeah, you were actually at a very It's funny It was so funny that before we started, you were like, hey, nervous, blah blah. It's like no, your episode was probably one of the most watched and the most commented on because they just really liked you and just the stories you had because people like interesting people and you're a very interesting person.
Well, I remember going by really quick. Well,
that's how podcasts should be. It's all friends.
Because we'll get into more. I will try to lead from there because that was just.
What were we talking about? Because I remember at the end of the last podcast, you were like, "We didn't even talk about this."
Okay, you said that you were 8 years old on Christmas and your parents let you, party with them.
Not 8 years old, but it was maybe 12, 13.
God damn.
To give them because they're good people. It was like in their mind, I remember, it was like, well, you're going to do drugs, you're going to find it anyway, well, you might as well just have this, we have
at the house.
So don't,
that's such a funny mentality.
And it was like they were from the product of the 60s. Oh, when I got really into drugs and by whatever age, they totally changed those rules.
Yeah.
Like, no drugs here, da-da-da-da-da. But, by that point, it was too late.
My mom's dad, I heard stories that he was like, they were like, because he had all daughters, and he was like, if you guys are going to do drugs or party, I'd rather you do it here first so you know what it's like instead of to be out there, and then it's the first time you're ever drunk, and then, weird shit happens. So, they smoked weed, and then I also remember my uncle being a kid and him being like, asking to pass a joint from my Uncle John to my grandpa, and my uncle walking through the house with the joint and then just having it, and then he took a puff because he was like, they have me pass it by all the time, and he said he took a puff and then he was like felt weird, and then he gave it to my grandpa, and my grandpa was holding it, and he looks at him and he goes, did you take a puff? And he was like, no, and he goes, and then he was fucking high the rest of the day. It was hilarious.
Yeah, man, I could see how that breaks down.
And it brings to mind, so my dad's best friend and my mom, when they first met, they were best friends in whatever, the 50s and 60s, was this guy Dell, who ended up being a self-educated chemist and was doing all kinds of work. But I think my dad used to go over there on the weekends. He'd bring kids with him. And we'd be hanging out, always a big property, right in Tarzana. And it had a bunch of old horse stalls, but those stalls had been it was labs. And at this point, cocaine was a big thing. And this is before crack. It was freebase. Literally, it was Christmas trees with ether. But he wasn't married, but there was always a clan of today I would say, a bunch of dope hookers, but like the Carmen and all these chicks were over there. I must have been like 13 or 14 the first time they were like, "Oh, you want a hit?" And literally torched up this thing, and like I took my first freebase hit, and holy shit, like the euphoria, like everything. And that basically became, from then till 35 years old, I was a cocaine addict.
Holy
Like
smoke.
that was like, even when, there was years of it. Oh, I dealt cocaine, fucking top of the world on tour. Oh, there was the point of like, MacArthur Park era, scoring dope on the streets. That's how I know all the streets here, because a certain part of the crack era, or coke era, the cheapest, best product you had to come down to the city to get it.
Interesting. So how long was the crack era? Would you say that?
It seemed like kind of maybe got going by the late coke. It wasn't just crack, but it turned out that the cocaine thing got roaring in a bad way probably about 85, 6, 7. It started to become like people were fucked up on it. And then crack hit like somewhere by the 90s. Most of the 90s. Like a lot of these neighborhoods, I mean, just about every one of them, I had a drive-through. Like that was just part of like, there was one in North Hollywood, there's one in Canoga Park, there's one in Hollywood.
Was everyone just doing
Western and Sunset, Santa Monica? Oh, those
naming
were
all the spots.
Those were all dope
That's where
spots.
that was your old spot right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Holy
all
shit,
those
dog.
corners. Like you just had to walk those corners, and people were selling.
Was it
everything.
like just everyone was doing it? It was so just
Yeah,
like
this whole city.
yeah, damn.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty crazy.
And that's how all the buildings were built.
Hilarious. Production was through the roof.
That's why everyone was working. You remember, you see the commercials back in the day. Everyone looks fit. Everyone looks fucking ready to go, sweating,
'Cause you're in
know.
comedy, that's kind of a writer, right? Some of you guys try to write.
Oh, dude, yeah,
Like
yeah.
my brother, who's
People
like
do,
a caterer, chef.
Yeah.
He posted, and he's drunk, pissed off because I guess the writers are going to go on strike and shut down all production in Hollywood.
Sounds about right. It wouldn't be. I mean, they do it every
Once
time they
in a while.
Yeah,
Every time they want to raise.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But,
well, now's not a good time when the way people like
Yeah.
like the thing's barely getting back going.
Yep,
and
yep.
like,
Dude, they're in a solid position to make a lot of money.
because people are starting to go back to movie, whatever. It's not the time to stop.
A lot of people from what I understand, the people do a lot of like. There's like the medical version of crack, like Adderall, shit like that, like the uppers and stuff. Like there's people who abuse that and they do like right and stuff. But I do remember my wife told me that statistically, I think it's like the food and beverage industry has the highest use of drug use because of how the pressure and how fast paced it is.
Fuck yeah, man. Let's get in there, man. This food and beverage industry, here we come, baby.
Start slang and shit.
Weed industry was too slow paced for me. I had to get up in the food and beverage industry, Go Coca-Cola fast, you know.
Like my brother's chef. I mean, mainly now in the movie catering, but he's worked a restaurant. He's been a chef for a long time. Yeah, that industry, they all drink, like not all, but we're talking like very high. It's like part of the thing. The stress of the shift, the heat, this. Once they're done, yeah, they party.
Yeah.
Chefs are known for that. Yeah, cooks, kitchen industry.
You ever been
That's
through
part
a
of-
drive-by? Correct.
No, I've never driven by to pick it. I have gone to a 7-Eleven. I think I've accidentally walked into like a crack area,
Yeah.
like because I walked into someone's like sales spot.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was at a 7-Eleven. This is when I realized I lived in a bad part of town. Because I grew up and I went to a 7-Eleven and I was walking by and the guy just looked at me and goes, "You want some shit?" And I was like, "Huh?" And he was like, "I just want to. I'm in high school. I just want to go to 7-Eleven." He was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Thanks, though." And then I was
Well,
like,
one thing I remember about the drive-throughs, and even how you'd figure out, because if you're just driving through a street, you didn't know it was drive-through. Like they were like, there's people, but they would whistle.
Yeah.
There was like a whistle, and that whistle was like, that was them trying to gain your attention. If you pulled over, they'd be at your windshield or at your thing. What do you want? Boom, boom. Like, just like that. And like certain ones were like in and out. It was like literally cars lined up. Boom, boom, boom. When you got into it, it cycled with the 1st and the 15th.
Payday.
Exactly. And the action was
It's the
super
first of
hot.
the month.
Yeah.
Wake up, wake
And then
up,
like
wake
by
up.
the 5th,
the
like
first of the
everybody
month.
was done. And then the 15th, there'd be a couple more days, and then there was the in-between periods. And that was street life, yeah.
That's a lot of money right there.
Mhm.
That's like, they're really smart as far as business, you know?
Well, in some ways, when you really look at the conspiracy stories that come out, well, who's like, oh, that freeway rig that
Yeah.
worked with the CIA or whatever? Well, in some ways, they were just taking the money they gave out, the checks, and selling. Basically, they were behind the sales of all of it to support whatever thing, whatever that story is, believe it or not. I believe most of it. Seems like enough people have come out and talked about it. So they were like bringing crack in, selling it to the streets, and basically taking the check money, the GR money, the food stamp money, all that. A huge percent of that went right back in to the street for crack at the epidemic of crack, which was, these streets were. I imagine it still exists somewhere.
Oh, there's still crack. My neighbors smoke crack.
Yeah, but like
So,
then
not
it
my
was a
immediate
huge thing.
neighbors, but like somewhere in my neighborhood, there's a crack house. Like still
Oh,
to
and
this
then
day.
there were the houses and the this and that, and like in essence, back then, that's really where the gangs and the power of the gangs, and that's where that got to be. That was all neighborhoods.
Yeah, I went to go buy some blunts the other day, and a dude, like a regular dude, you know, had some meat on his bone, like a bigger dude, comes in walking his dog on the street. The dude walking his dog, that's just a dude walking his dog. Sometimes there's like crackheads walking their dog, but this looked like a regular dude walking his dog. I'm buying my blunts. He goes into the store and he's buying a crack pipe, and I'm just like, you never fucking know. You never fucking know.
True. It took me for a while to realize those glass roses. What those
man,
were.
Yeah.
It's been around for like 30 years.
Yeah.
I was like, no way.
Yeah, Diana, we used to my dad used to have a tow trick yard on Imperial and Central, and that's where the Nickerson Garden projects are.
Yeah.
And me and Diana used to run the tobacco store right there. My dad used to sell cigarettes, and he sold roses because he knew that was the demographic right there. So people would go in, and they would ask for oil burners, and we'd be like, oil burners? And we'd be like, yeah, the fucking crack pipe right there. Oh, okay, here you go. Have a good day, you know, fucking. And that's, you
They
know.
called it the crack pipe. It was
No,
like,
but
"Give me the
like-
crack pipe." You're like, oh
You
shit.
still needed Brillo,
Yeah.
right? That was a part of it.
Listen up, guys. Fucking A.
But that was
Brillo, like the cleaning shit? Or like foil?
Yeah, that wire stuff, but not the stuff where the soap's in it. There's one, and then if you char it, it basically becomes like a screen. At like, that's what they use.
Hey, man, fucking crack 101.
You know, when it all started, it was all like fancy.
This episode's getting
glass
flagged.
and there was like an era of like freebase.
Yeah, that's how
Way
Richard
before-
Pryor got caught on fire.
Yeah. And even my dad's friend, he didn't have anything to do with Rich Pryor, but the performer Ben Vereen, and back then those ounces of like freebase were like 4,000, which was like double the price of like what an ounce of coke was. And everyone was doing that shit.
Imitate the greats.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta go do some freebase, Frank. Be like Richard Pryor.
Yeah, I'm
Catch on
trying to
fire.
get this special, baby.
Let's go.
Smoking crack.
Yeah, man.
Then it
Let's do
became
it.
crack, and it was like at one point it was like a top elite thing. It wasn't like just like crack.
Fancy
market.
people were smoking crack?
Well, it was freebase. Like
Yeah.
even the way they made it was like not like crack, but I mean it was similar process, but just in a like cleaner way.
Holy smokes.
It's so funny. They definitely tried to make it seem like it was like, it was like only minorities do crack. It's like, no, everyone is doing
Well,
crack.
look, what really happened is like even through it all, cocaine was like 100, 120 a gram, 308, a couple thousand an ounce. Kilos were a lot of money through the 80s and stuff. Really, when during that time, it was like rich people did cocaine, right? All of a sudden, and within a couple years, there was like 50-cent hits of crack. Like you were down to like
50 cent
dollar
hits of crack?
Oh,
bring
when
'em
you got
back.
onto the street, the hustlers on the street were basically like, $1, give me $3 worth. You know,
But your minimum wage is $3 back in the day. You know what I mean?
right? And like
6 hits, you got
there
$1
was,
worth
like,
of work.
There was always
hours
nickel
worth of
bags
work.
of heroin and stuff like that. That's why like that was more of a drug in the streets. But then all of a sudden, crack, and like it really was cocaine that you snorted, like $3 worth. That's like a tenth of a line. That's one spoon.
Yeah.
You know, but crack, it became like a little piece, a hit, and that's kind of what fueled the like insanity of what the crackhead is, because people basically could just hit the dope spot, even just pick up the crumbs and stay high, because a lot of dope sales happen there. You know what I mean? Like, you could be the lookout. You could just be there. And, when the guys made money, they took care of the crackheads. Some of those people ran, like, when the cops tried to swoop in, there was too many crackheads to actually get to the dope dealer. He was, like, smarter than that. He had his shit stashed here and would run down the, back of his apartment. And the crackheads would be all there. You know what I mean? Like, usually most of these places had, like, a couple local people that were, like, 24-hour crackheads on the street, wherever these, what do you call them, drive-thrus. Yeah, that was a huge thing. Well, L.A. wasn't alone. Bay Area had the same thing. You could find it anywhere.
Rich people had like big gardens back in the day, and they would keep like a dude in the garden, like just like a garden nymph or something like that.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, that you think like that's our new age garden nymph is the crackhead in the crack house. He's just
Well, really,
You sound like a squeaky chair.
Like we went.
Someone rubbing
and
a balloon
the
really
crackheads
fast.
kind of faded off. Like that's not. It's definitely not like an epidemic. There's still a few. And then we went so many years that tweakers were like.
What
the rampant thing.
tweakers were on what?
meth.
Meth. Okay.
And now
It's
that kind
fentanyl.
of backed off, and the
So
opiate
are
thing.
people still doing meth?
But like
Not
even
sure.
weird stories you hear, like
Someone like pulling meth
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
yeah. Arizona meth.
Somehow
Yeah,
we
all
get
day.
that out of here. Where's
they
that fentanyl?
They sell like this massive amount of Adderall, but they're like reporting in the news that there's a shortage of Adderall. They need to manufacture more of it, which ultimately goes back to like, I was a kid, but the history of it is like the mothers of the 50s. When you were in the 50s and 60s, men or women could see any physician and say, I want to lose a few pounds. And they would put you on amphetamines, basically. Like the diet pills is what they were called. And so like the point of what I'm saying is I'm old enough, 60, that what's that term? History repeats itself. Some cycles might be 100-year cycles. Some might be 30-year cycles.
They still use a phentermine or something like that for weight loss, and
They got
They
all
got-
this stuff.
and that's like a
You mean to
like-
tell me I could just do a little bit of meth, lose a
But
couple
like,
pounds?
Part of the opiate
Few
thing,
teeth?
when the
Just a little bit.
companies testified, they acted as if they didn't know the shit was so addictive.
Yeah.
You can go in human history for 1,000 years and like opiate, whether it was Chinese people smoking opium or different things that have happened in societies, almost ruined societies like numerous times. There's big issues. So they know that substance is addicting. But somehow, about every so many years, so it's almost like, if you were really playing the game, you realize, okay, we went through this cycle, we're coming back into this cycle, because it seems like it's a thing that repeats itself,
God
the
damn.
different epidemics, because it's profitable.
Yeah.
And as much as like they demonize street drug and as dealers, when you really look at pharmaceutical companies, they're the ultimate.
Oh, they're playing the big
Yeah,
game.
they are dealers in the purest sense, and have no shame in any morals or anything else.
I know from working in the pharmacy at a ground level that like there's a lot of money involved. Like when we're offering vaccines, like we're giving you your flu shot, but like we're selling vaccines too. Like you should get all these other ones too.
That's what they're doing.
And like fake consultations and just getting paid through insurances for services that never got rendered. All that shit is happening at a mass scale through health, and that's why our health system is super fucked because of
that's
things
why
like that.
It costs so much, because that all becomes like just the cost of doing business. even like why stores, they have like a certain amount of theft. Oh, who pays for it? We all pay for it back. That's just how that works. All that fraud in the Medicare and Medicare, yep, that's why insurance is like $1,000 a month or whatever, because they're getting worked on all this other money.
Damn, I feel like I'm learning a lot. This is I don't even feel high anymore. This is just like
Yeah.
this is like
Well,
knowledge. This is wild.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not good knowledge. I'll put you that way.
No, you've seen a lot. You know what I mean?
Well, you'll see it too, because when you get old, all of a sudden you see certain patterns.
Yeah.
God damn. Yeah, we our health insurance costs a lot of money, and I never go to the fucking doctor.
I need to. My wife was like, "You have health insurance now," and I was like, "Yeah."
Fuck yeah.
Started
dude.
skateboarding, lifting shit really hard and just jerking.
Were you ever a skater?
Yeah, dude. I
Swear to
fucking tore
God.
it up, dog. Come
Yeah.
on, baby.
You could ollie and shit?
I can ollie. That was it.
Oh, okay.
I got to the ollie position.
You
and I
seen
was
Frank
like, okay.
posted his long hair the other day, guys?
See that, dude? It was dude. It was beautiful.
It looked nice.
It was, dude. It was like
How old are you in that picture?
I was like high school, so like sophomore, junior. It was down to my shoulders.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. I could put it in a ponytail.
What happened?
He's still
Fucking God.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, if you're gonna be this funny, you got to lose a little bit of that.
There you go. Fucking A. I had long hair. My dad always made me cut my hair, but in high school I grew it out. And then Rite Aid made me cut it again.
Really?
And yeah, they're like, you can't have long hair. You work in a pharmacy, you know? I'm like, the girls can have long hair.
Damn. What'd they say?
They're like, you can't have long hair.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, well, I won't be here for long.
Yeah, that's like a weird reverse discrimination rule.
Yeah. What about these hoes? No.
I don't think the lady knew what's up. She was just being overzealous with her front end manager duties.
Oh, they always are.
Not even a pharmacy worker.
You ever see these people who like? That's why I could never work retail, because there's people who truly you meet in life and you're like, this is it for you.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
You're
This
never
is where
gonna-
this is your
This is your life. You are in this fucking.
you're a lifer.
You're a lifer. You know, you got a Honda that's 2 years older than the newest one.
Hey man, you know what?
You're good.
I've
but
learned
this
that
is your power.
we need people like that too.
I mean, yeah, we don't want to work for
who's gonna we need people that just show up for the job sometimes. For things like that. Now if you're gonna go do brain surgery, we don't need you like that.
No.
If you're just gonna be there and be at
Yeah.
at Target,
Like,
Bonds.
At this
Yeah.
point, when you actually find out that, okay, for the most part, wages, it's not like it solves every problem, but now that, for the most part, the wages are like pretty good. But for a long time, people that had certain jobs literally had like
Nothing. Yeah, absolutely.
minimum wage, which was like some ridiculously low number that was like a laughable number, but that's what they paid.
Was
for
there a day and age in Los Angeles where you could be like a Pizza Hut manager and buy a house?
L.A. Maybe, I don't know. It's
Bet-
crazy to
Well,
think of the money
like,
that I've
here's-
made now
here's
that
kind
not
of the way
retail
LA
shit.
was. Even when we moved to the Valley in like the 60s, that was like mostly orange groves, and there was just a few housing tracts, and it was like and then there was Lancaster. If you were willing to drive that far, houses were cheaper than nothing. And then even the Valley was like that, and like the west side of the Valley, which was a further ride, was even less. That's where we lived in Woodland Hills and that side. But and that's where a lot of like truly wealth of just regular people, because like I think my parents bought the first house in the Valley for $33,000. Like there was like this time where people were
33,000 equates to what today?
but
Like
then like that was the
half a mil?
first come up, because when it was like whatever price, they sold it, got a bigger house, and then the same thing happened to even a bigger scale of money. So like a lot of people that were just residents of LA that, you could just be a worker and get one of those. There was GI loans, there was all these things, right? Because they were trying to promote that, whatever the life was at that time, right? So a lot of people bought, and that's generational wealth at this point. You know, like even just in this area, Fairfax area, some of these houses are behind here, they're some of the most expensive, and they were only like whatever price a couple generations ago. Now they're worth millions.
God damn, that's what I anticipate happening with my house in Compton.
Millions
Well,
of
but I
dollars.
followed it like it's like even it's kind of is a good thing, bad thing, but they call it regentrification a lot because like
Whoa.
Like-
This is a big word.
well yeah, and I'm
I
not
heard
even sure if I'm
gentrification.
using it right, but like
Or is it
down-
gentrification?
Like Bay Area is an example of it. New York is like where people used to work in the city, but then they were willing to like commute
Yeah.
to work, pay money, gas, traffic, where a lot of the neighborhoods that were downtown, the areas around that, were the most rundown, the basically
Interesting.
not kept up,
Yeah.
not. Now you see, some of that's all being refreshened.
Yeah.
People more into moving there.
I think you just sold me on gentrification. I'm into it.
Yeah, they
Well, I'm just kidding.
they tore down the projects
Yeah.
where we're at, and they're gonna build what are they building there? I don't know what the fuck they're
Yeah,
building. there.
Oshkosh Bagash.
They're building some shit, a villa.
and even down like
Villa in
in
Compton.
Temecula and where I'm
Yeah.
at. Like Temecula is an example of like even why there's
Yeah.
so much traffic where it's like worst traffic in LA for 4 miles, the 4 exits of Temecula.
Dude, it's
Because-
insane.
And I've lived there 25 years or in its vicinity. They keep building.
They keep
Like,
building.
that was freeway and those off ramps were good when they thought they were going to have this many people live there.
So many
right.
people keep moving in that they have to keep changing the freeway
And
plans.
when that was, you want a cheap house? You're willing to drive? Oh, there's Temecula. It's out in
Yeah.
the middle of nowhere. That's
It's
where it
fucking
started,
nice, though,
right?
dog.
And then next thing you know, it's like the Riverside County, which is huge. That's kind of the prime place to live because they have the best stores, the best whatever. It's decent, but it's already totally overcrowded, just like here where it's traffic. And it's only been like 20 years.
Damn, Ben.
20, 25 years where you realize some city planner and people that had these jobs that signed off on this plan, we're going to build, these are the streets. Yeah, they should be held accountable because they fucked up.
Yeah.
Because like traffic.
Yeah,
like, you
dude.
think
That
you
shit
live-
crazy,
You
dog.
live way out there? Well, why do you live
It
way
is
out there? For you don't have all that. Somehow
it
it's
is-
worse there.
Bro, it is like there's like it's crazy how like it's crazy. It's insane. Like it does not need to be that crazy. But it's such a beautiful place. It's nice.
It's nice. It's a little, like I live up.
I
in
avoid
hill
the
in San
405.
Diego, so it's like cooler microclimate where that's the edge of the desert.
It's fun though.
And
I
so
love
in the
it.
summer,
I grew up
It's
there.
like in the 110s and stuff.
The
Right-
night's
right
beautiful.
up the hill, or in San Diego, we're like in the 90s. So
Where you said Duluth?
Duluth, which is Fallbrook,
Yeah.
which is basically the hills
Yeah.
of Temecula,
Mm-hmm.
which just due to like
take that Rainbow Canyon
agriculture
route?
and
Oh, a lot of
county
agriculture.
rules, you would figure that the most valuable properties and the best groves and the best operations would be in San Diego County, a more valuable county than Riverside.
Mm-mm.
Well, it used to be that is what built North County, San Diego, but like we don't have an ag rate. One of the few places that has a good amount of ag as part of its, gross income. We pay, if you had a house on the beach, you pay what water rate? Guy with 100 acres, he pays same way. You go right over to Riverside, which would be same town, Duluth, but it's on the Riverside side of the border. All the groves are, they even have citrus going, pomegranates, grapes, miles of avocados. Oh, they have an ag rate because you can't farm without one. So through politics, whatever, I don't know the whole story. Somehow San Diego doesn't have ag rate. And basically over the years, what used to be a thriving agriculture belt, we do cut flowers a lot. That's like filler for
And avocados
bouquets.
too, right in Fallbrook?
Well, no,
They're done?
Basically, due to the climate, water prices, you can get into NAFTA because the avocado industry moved to Mexico, unlimited amount. What used to be it used to be when I moved down there, green gold. That's what they called it.
Yep.
We had a fruit stand. We made a lot of money on avocados. Today, if I had a fruit stand, I'd be selling Mexican avocados. There's not even serious supply left in Cali, at least in that part.
What makes the
well, wait, you buy avocados at the store.
Yeah.
You see the stickers
Yeah.
on them? Where are they from?
France?
You know what I'm
From
saying?
France?
No, I'm just kidding. Mexico.
Like even I saw a story that like somehow the cartel has taken over a certain part of
Yep.
the avocado
Oh, yeah.
business.
Yeah, they're starting anything
because
that can make
it's
money.
so profitable. And
Yeah.
the reality, like we mentioned NAFTA, see the key word in NAFTA is like unlimited trade.
Mm-hmm.
So even to protect our own American interest, an avocado industry, that's just one of many
Mm-hmm.
farm sectors that fall under this thing. They can import as much. It doesn't matter. Well, maybe we should only let them import enough that allows our own industry survive.
As a Mexican, I'm biased. You know what I mean? Let's woo, Mexico! No.
Well, you know, like living in San Diego, you get a lot more border news.
Yeah.
And like, you know, they've
Border
had this.
news,
They even
this
have like
fucking guy.
a public service type thing where they're basically telling you if you're smuggling chickens or eggs, that the penalties are basically the same as if you were smuggling drugs or any other contraband.
Dude walking
Because-
across with an egg sandwich, like, my bad, I fucked up.
But because the price of eggs here is like
Yeah.
$6 and this whole thing.
All those memes were
They'll
hilarious.
show like these trucks that they've caught, just like if they caught a load of whatever.
Do you eat a lot of eggs?
Pulling
it's-
hard-boiled eggs out of
it's
a dude's
eggs.
mouth.
And then, like, part of the
It's
story
eggs.
is that, well, we have our eggs get inspected to be sold.
Yeah.
And those eggs aren't inspected,
Yeah.
right? Even though they're probably good, better,
Yeah.
whatever. But,
Spicier.
you know, but yeah, there's a smuggling problem
You're so
with,
stupid.
with people smuggling, like, loads of eggs. Like,
Browner.
You know.
They have the browner ones. Oh, I love it. Wow, I asked one question and we just went.
Yo,
and it
Ben,
was so
what's
great.
that on your shirt?
That's
On your
Buddy-
sweater.
Buddy Kilowatt.
Buddy Kilowatt. Is that what your Instagram handle's named after?
Yeah.
Wait, what is Buddy
Well,
Kilowatt?
Okay. Ready Kilowatt, which is very similar, is probably one of our country's oldest advertising icons. You can Google him. Like, what makes him unique and why I like him, one, Phil Lesh, my friend, the bass player of the Dead, like, if you were going to hang out in the hotel rooms on tour, you had to know, like, what name they were checked in under. And, like, each band member had some, like, name that people knew. Well, Phil's was Ready Kilowatt. And then through different things, he's had stickers of that and this and that. And if you go back, and they're collector's items, and people trade the old ashtrays and everything from pens to, because it was like an advertising thing. But a lot of the initial stuff, if you read what the rhetoric, it was like many towns were resistant to the idea of them running electricity to them. This is when, so Ready Kilowatt was like this comic, right? That would like make these things that like be like your life will be better, you'll have power, because like believe it or not, like a lot of towns along the way were like they didn't like the idea of power company and all this and were resistant. And Ready Kilowatt was like this icon thing that they used to like put out pamphlets and rhetoric stuff to try to ease the idea of power coming in.
That's interesting because people were like, nah, fuck it, candles all the way.
Fuck your power, dog.
And there's some fun, like some of them are funny, like there's cartoons, it's comic. You'd have to Google it. There's a lot of cool stuff. He's his own icon, and has other history, to where he's actually been retired. Like he was owned by whatever power company, one of the big ones. But they relinquished their rights to him, and like he's retired, so he's free game.
Interesting.
Like Winnie the Pooh.
And
No, that's not real. They checked it. It's Snopes.
and somehow, like through
You got
Phil, friends, different things, because I'm like the big fan of Phil and friends with him. I'm like became Buddy Kilowatt. He's Ready Kilowatt. I'm Buddy
Nice.
Kilowatt.
Damn.
All right.
So what does that make me?
Edgar
Edgar
Kilowatt?
Kilowatt. like, wait, Edward Scissorhands Kilowatt.
I'm into it. I'm totally into it.
Yeah.
And you?
Frank Watt?
Frankie Watts.
Frankie Watts. Frankie Watts.
Let's-
Frankie Kilowatts?
Yeah.
Frankie Kilowatts. I
That's a
like
good
it.
one.
Frankie Kilowatts.
But you know Frank butchered your name on the YouTube, right?
Did I?
Yeah.
Buddy Dynamite.
Oh,
That was funny, though. At
When
first
did I
was-
say it?
Well, no. It's the
It's the name. It's the
typed
name.
in title. Like, even if you read the comments,
It's a good name.
I said, I'm still trying to find out who Buddy
Dynamite
is.
You know, Frank is really good at making jokes.
I didn't tell you guys I'm great at my job.
He's not
all right?
very good at spell check, though.
Bro, I most of the time I upload it. Quick little dip
It works,
in
though.
and
It's-
then, you know what I mean?
My thing is it's so
We're
bad.
gonna
it's-
get a guy. We're gonna get a guy.
It's so bad it's good.
We're
you know?
gonna get a guy. You know.
Some people have hit me up and they've been
Well,
like, "Hey,
before we
you know,
end-
my name is spelled with like this, not like this," and
I
I'm
know
just like, "Are you like, sorry, you know, we'll fix it."
No, you just tell them. You go. Frank's
Frank's Frank.
Frank's uneducated.
Frank's Frank.
Well, before this ends, I want to tell my story of Frank's Super Bowl thing.
Oh, yeah.
My experience.
All right.
So, on that Sunday, there was a craft fair. You know Pachanga.
Yeah,
and
I used to work at Pechanga Resort and
you have
Casino.
friend-
I
we're all
was
got common friends
I
down
was
there.
Employee of the month.
I worked at the Journey's End. It was
3
my
years in a row.
first job when it opened up, and then that's the job I left to move to LA to become a stand-up. So yeah,
and I'm
I-
friends
I met
with
Sky,
Kinger and
yeah,
Sky
everybody.
and their family, and been spending more
Yeah,
time
yeah.
down there. But so Sunday was Super Bowl Sunday, and Sky's cousin had organized a craft fair, and I was like, sure, I'll come down. And Sky had his art and other people's stuff and art. It was a cool day. But then at some point, I didn't really have plans. I'm like, what's happening for the Super Bowl? He's like, oh, we invited. We can go to the government building, and there's like
shout
a
out
party,
my government homies.
right? Which that government
Tribal
building is
gov.
like the tribal
Yeah.
main building. They take
Tribal
care of
government
business.
answers to the casino board government, and it's pretty. Yeah.
So I'm
They're
like,
connected.
sure. You know, Sky makes sure he's going to invite somebody, which means like, okay. And I get a little nervous because
Yeah, white guy pass.
Yeah, like we basically walk into this big hall, right? By the time we get there, it's a little bit into the first quarter. I don't know, maybe about 150. All tables, basically all Pachanga Indians. That's the only reason you'd be in there at this party, right? Right? And sort of, not all of them, but pretty much when we walked in, just about every one of them looked at us like, oh, who's that? Like, 'cause there was only a few seats left. We had to ease into it. You know, of course, they know Sky, they know Kinger. I got the feeling like it was the first time in my life where I realized what it might feel like to be like a minority and walk into most situations
Where
that
you're like,
I've
oh,
lived in
I'm
my
the
whole
only
life.
white guy.
Right. And no, the vibe was more than cool. Like, it's not like, oh, it's not like the other way around where there's actually weird vibes. No, they were more than welcoming, and everybody I've met there is not, there's nothing like that.
Yeah, you feel guilty?
Right.
You fucking no. I'm just kidding.
And everything at the res is like top of the line.
Oh yeah, they're
They-
great. Yeah,
Like, they make all the money from the casino. So
Yeah.
they had I don't even know, the best projector thing you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the giantest wall with big speakers. Oh, everybody's cheering. It was a pretty good game. A little bit distraction even this, in this building, what are those things you get for kids they can jump in?
A jumper.
Blow up. They had those because the
Yeah.
kids needed something
So
to do.
they're like Mexicans too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
No, I'll tell you, even something else.
But
at the
funner.
end. But so, and we were going outside to smoke and something, so we could have missed the thing.
Yeah.
But somehow we Kinger,
Third
and
quarter.
Sky, and like I just remember, and I might be one of the people that saw with them. Him, like, dude, his head had to have been, it was a projector thing on
Dude,
this
it was-
giant, like he was gigantic, like it was like.
Was it
bam.
you guys just freaking out?
Well,
Was there any? Because that
I'll
was the
put
thing.
you this way: this was a rowdy crowd, so like there was humming for every commercial. Like you mentioned the Jesus thing, yeah, I remember that going. Yeah, people were like, "Whoa, what was that?" And some of the ads were kind of like, I remember this one Amazon one that went on
Yeah.
for all this time. It was like, what are they fucking even selling? And
Yeah.
they just put their little emblem, and it was weird ads. But that ad, no, people were into that because it had
Jeff and
all that. And
So-
to be honest, I don't know. I didn't get a stopwatch, but like some of the bigger names had less frames than Frank had. And I know
So-
in the end, I know a little something about TV production. Oh no, like frames per fucking, that is what counts.
Damn,
So yeah,
Frank.
I had like the longest joke on it. It was like, people were like, my manager was just like coming, you know what I mean? He was just
It was
looking at all
great.
my contracts. He was
But-
just fucking,
Oh,
Here's
my
something
God.
that I also witnessed, right? Because it was bring your own. So of course there was more food than anything. Party. There was a bar. There was all that. Help yourself. And the tables were all covered with this plastic, and there was trash cans. And when it ended, like each group of people, like no one prompted them, no one asked them, like cleaned up, stacked the chairs, like left the building like if not a person was in there, but no one had to even prompt that.
He was
Where I'm
like, yeah,
if you went
it's
to
called a
wedding
community.
or
It's,
right, at the end, everyone's drunk and fucking whatever. They would have just laughed. They would have figured, the janitor's gonna clean that shit up.
Weren't they having like a soccer World Cup game and like the Japanese crowd picked up after themselves? Or
well, that's
something
because
like
they kill him if they don't.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That's the
But,
Koreans.
like,
That's
hey,
the North Koreans.
Hey, I give all the power out to Pachanga because like they got good vibe down there.
That was one of my favorite times, was working there and meeting everybody and all just the different tribal members I've met. There's some legit people that work there that I really like inspired me and like, I
Do you have
really,
a tribal
like-
name?
No, I didn't have a tribal.
Funny Bear.
I mean, doesn't the casino? I think they have like everything going on there. Don't they have a comedy?
They
thing?
did. And that's where I
But
started.
aren't they remodeling?
I don't know if they are remodeling, but
no, they're
they actually
remodeling
hired me
everything.
to do like some of their first YouTube videos, and me and my friend wrote for them, and it was like the first sketches we wrote, and it was ridiculous. They really had there was no reason they should have let us do it, and they did, and it was just fun and ridiculous, but it really did capture like something
Well,
kind of
wait.
fun and cool. But it was funny because the guy they hired afterwards was like, I hated those videos, and everyone immediately were like, oh, fuck that guy. And now look at me.
Yeah.
I was on the
Well, a
Super
lot of
Bowl,
it
and that
has-
guy's
has been
a
banned,
fucking
but
No one
probably
knows who he is.
Yeah, who the fuck?
Isn't there
Smack
like
him in the
a
goddamn mouth.
a
No, I'm just kidding.
comedy circuit of it, like the Indian casino circuit? Because like in music, there's a lot of these like cover has-been bands that, they don't really play anywhere but one casino.
Yeah, it's
after
called.
another.
I almost said something terrible.
Yeah.
I almost said something.
Don't do it.
A
Don't
lot
do
of
it.
people feel like
It's called the
that's
Hut Circuit. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
But
Yeah.
they have comedy out there. But
No,
they
yeah, they
never
have
really
comedies.
get the big names.
But most they have big names because they do like the theaters. Like I remember.
Tickets are expensive.
Yeah, but like Daniel Tosh to Pachanga. I think Segura's done
That's Tosh
Pachanga,
Point Oh, right?
Tosh Point
I like
Big
his
guys
show.
will do Pachanga because it's a big auditorium. So yeah.
I heard that his sets are bad though from Facebook back in the day.
I mean, everyone has bad sets.
no, but I heard like because his show's really good, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they like expect that
Yeah.
that experience, and then they go see like his set, and they're like, oh,
Well,
like
wait,
he
when
should
you're
stick to
doing, like, a
MTV or
show
whatever.
like
Hilarious.
that, like
Wait, who
for
are we
an
talking?
audience,
Daniel Tosh?
Yeah.
Nah, he's a
Don't
crusher,
you
dog.
set
He
has
crushes
to be
it.
like
I gotta go
an
check him
hour?
out.
Like,
45 minutes. Technically, some people do an hour. I would love to get to a point where I'm just doing an hour,
but
but
wouldn't 45 minutes be? Is that easy to do?
it depends. It really depends. Some people, you can tell it takes forever. Other times, just know how to like. There'll be times where I'll go up on shows and I'll just be fucking around and I'll be having fun, and then I'll look at my clock and be like, "Oh shit, I've been up here 30 minutes and I've done maybe 5 jokes, and I've literally just been in the moment and having so much fun or something." You know what I mean? You're just riding the wave and stuff. And there's times where it's like you're doing a theater, and then it is very much you're doing the act, so you're doing the full 45 in the hour, and they're there with you. Comedy clubs, you can get away with a lot more,
Yes, sir.
and you're building it and stuff, but. It really just depends. Some people like big long shows. They have a lot of openers and shit.
Well, like a show, and then that's like that guy has a set thing, like most of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, when you deliver
Some
that
people are
set
working
thing,
out.
Some
They'll-
nights you're better, and some nights this is not in you.
Yeah, 100%. And listen,
Now
there's
doing
nothing
10 minutes, like a good guy can always do 10 minutes. Right?
some people can't, and there's nothing better than watching that. There's nothing better than hearing a story of someone that's headlining and fucking biffs it, because like I don't get to headline a lot, and there's people who want to so bad, and like, right? There's other guys who have whatever it is, credits falling, whatever, and they get those chances, and they don't have it yet. And those are my favorite stories to hear.
You've been on Kill Tony before?
Of course, I started there.
That's what's up. You
I was
like
on like the first 6.
like the Kill Tony show. They have like a fishbowl, and they pull your name out.
Draw a name out, you do a minute. It used to be called something very bad. It was called Tag It, or a gay slur,
Yeah.
and it was they had to change it. It used to be called Hinchcliffe Notes, and then it was just became a big thing. But it was crazy because that was a very fun show to do, and I've seen a lot of comics go through there, and I've seen a lot of comics gain followings from it. So it is a very cool show, and it does a lot for the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of this came up, but I want to ask something for myself. So, as a comic, where do you fall with like this politically correct pressure? Like some comedy guys seem to say, "Oh, forget that. They're still going to push." But a lot of people have corrected and are like careful with what they say. Where in comedy isn't part of it. Doesn't matter. Like you should be able to.
Everybody has a different philosophy.
Now all of a sudden there's words you can't say. And
but there's always been words we can't say, and people still say them. You know what I mean? You look at Carlin at that time; those were like 7 words you couldn't say, and he still said them. So it's like this thing of you can still push the line, but people talk about like PC culture, and that PC culture is societal culture. That is part of how everything is, right? So that is something you do have to worry about. But also, like, he's seen me do stand-up. I have a mass shooting joke. I got a fucking cats eating my cum joke.
Okay,
I got
so
fucking,
that's where
like,
you
racial
fall on
humor.
it.
You know what I mean? But I walk the line. There's times where people don't laugh. There's times where people
But
do.
then I also know there's probably people walking a certain line because they're like
I think
have network and know that like if you're like
I think if you're
anything from your past could derail.
What about that new Woody Harrelson movie?
hilarious. I think if you're trying to secure the bag, there is a way to do it, right? Whereas, like, let's take the Super Bowl commercial. Some people there's a few comics that are like, they was too strict. There was a lot of, I wish they let me do jokes that I could have and stuff. It was like, well, we got paid for a job. We know what the job is. It is the Super Bowl. It is 113 million people.
Like homie that does Jimmy Kimmel
yeah.
and Squeaky Clean, and
Right,
then
right.
and then he goes and
So-
fucking lets loose at the fucking comedy store.
Exactly. So it is a challenge.
and an international crowd that like might not even understand some of the
So-
American
so
inside humor.
I gave them heavy jokes, like regular roast jokes, right? But in my head, I knew they're not going to pick all of them. It's national TV. So I wrote some very fun, safe roast jokes that I was like, these are ones they'll probably love. Those are the ones that picked. And some people are going to be like, well, you sold out. And I was like, no, I got paid to do a job. And I got the most screen time because of it, right? I can do my comedy shit when I'm doing stand-up.
Well, I'm sure when
Right?
they were casting for that, they had a list of all these comics, and
They
there
did
were
have a
certain
list.
people that they're like because they don't know how to do the job.
Right? And that's the thing is at the end of the day, it is a job. When it comes to roasting and doing stand-up, I try, you see me, I try to push the line as best as I can because I know everything I'm saying up there is just
Well, the
jokes.
same thing happened with certain comics because one of the successful things back then was to get a sitcom, right?
Yeah, and that's
but
changed.
then when you signed with the network,
Imagine Frank with a
like,
sitcom.
you-
Oh my
hilarious.
god.
I'd love to do it, but it's also
maybe
like, I wanna do it the
looser
way I do
now,
it.
But back then, like, you really had to be like they had rules around like
Yeah.
who
There's-
you were, who your character is.
Yeah, and there's people who want to play that game, and it's also about what you want. Me, I love stand-up. When I watch stand-up, I know there are things that, like, you landmines in a sense. You just got to be a better writer. You got to write above what people are getting offended at. Where it's like, there are those hacky things. Like, I see comics go up and they're like, this PC culture, and like, you can't talk about having a black friend, or you have a black friend, and it's like, you don't need to say that, and blah, blah, blah. Like, me and my gay friends, and I'm like, you're doing the thing you're complaining about. You're not tricking anybody. You're just saying.
That's easy stick.
You're
There's
saying
always people go
exactly.
For the easy
We're right now, like, that is a contention in comedy. There are people who are like, yeah, I think that too. Now I'm on your side. Now these jokes are a little more digestible. And it's like, nah, man. You see my set.
Just
My
go
shit's
for it.
fucking. You know what I mean? You don't know what. In my head, it's you don't know what I'm voting for. You don't know what side I'm on.
Yeah.
I'm just on the side of funny, and it's gonna be weird and awkward. But at the end of the day, how I vote and how I am politically, that's on me.
Yep.
I'm not going to force that shit on you guys.
I'm the same way as you.
You know what I mean?
There's been points where I like I used to, just post memes from 4chan on my page, right?
Mhm.
And this was like 2017. And as far as what demographic any given, meme that I post, whether it be like just something that might offend someone,
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh, like you're on my side."
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
This is funny.
I don't know.
And that's the other
I'm
thing.
just posting shit.
I
you know?
don't want, and I love this thing I love about Patrice O'Neill, he said, and this is the thing I really try to resonate with is the audience should 100% be loving you. It should be 50-50. It should be half the people that are dying, laughing, bending over, and half the people that are absolutely horrified. And that's the kind of comedy I want. I want to go up there and I want people to be like, fuck, that's wrong, but also giggling. You know what I mean? Or I just want someone, I want there to be a group of table, and I saw this happen once, and this is where I was like, okay, I know I'm doing the right thing, where I did a joke, and a guy was like, nope, nah, not funny at all. And his friend that was with him was out of his chair laughing because he thought it was the funniest fucking thing in the world. And it's like, that's what I want. Yeah. I want there to be contention. I want you to be like, no. And then I also want some people to be like, I fucking love this dude. Because at the end of the day, it's like, you look at my background, and that's the thing is like, this is not going to get me on my soapbox about the festivals and stuff, because there is the thing of like box checking. And I feel, especially being in this industry, and I see them book people, and it's like, well, it definitely feels like you're checking a box. Because you look at my background, it's like born and raised East Side San Jose, parents both alcoholics, single mom, single dad, sister's disabled. You know what I mean? I got some gay people in my family like that are coming out, and it's like tough because it's traditional Mexican family, and I'm like the most liberal of them all, and that's because I have like an empathetic understanding,
and
right?
the gays.
And yeah, and I'm gay, and but it's also like I didn't have a lot. You know what I mean? I grew up on the floor, couch, right? Yeah. My mom now has stability. My dad now is like coming to terms with all the shit that he had to deal with, and like I figured it out and I got out. I can joke about terrible, crazy, horrible things that I've seen, but I can also still have empathy for these, you know, fucked up things that are going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm still a person. Yeah. But I know when it comes to stand-up and all the shit that I'm doing, I'm just trying to be funny. Yep. Shit's burning down, everything's crazy, the world's ending, but let's laugh.
That's where most of the good, best humor comes from, is from like trauma.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I don't want to hear like, what are you gonna joke about? Fucking how
great
squeaky clean everything was? No, there's
shit's
no
dirty. Shit's tough, man.
Like let's hear some trauma. Let's laugh about some trauma over
here.
I
eating top ramen.
Like what? Haha, man. Fuck yeah.
Living paycheck to paycheck.
Love it, man. Yeah, driving buckets. You know, fucking taking the 25-cent dash after getting your car repossessed.
Fucking,
like
you're hungry because your dad fucking spent money on alcohol. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, your mom's gone. Shit like tough, real tough shit.
Yeah, emergency housing, food stamps,
fucking
cash
WIC,
aid,
dog. You know,
let's go. WIC. Oh my God, we used to ball out on WIC.
Oh
man.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, I've lived a crazy life.
To this day, my mother-in-law somehow, some way, still gets us WIC. We have no babies in the family.
But that's why I'm so. That's why I'm so like people think it's like arrogance. I'm like, no, this is how I am. Because I've seen a crazy shit.
My mom will tell me to go get WIC right fucking
forever,
now.
like, I still got
right now with all the things I got going for me. If she got a WIC voucher at her house, she would tell me to go hop on it. Because that's where we came from.
Does that answer your question? Yeah. All right, cool.
Yo, Ben.
Well, I got to come see it. I saw you the one time at the roast after the Emerald Cup, but that was really
homeboy saw me.
That didn't count.
I want to see.
Man, I don't even know that guy's name anymore. You remember his name?
What?
The dude that was roasting me.
Oh, I can't remember.
Exactly.
That was a fun thing because it was like the vibe of that place.
Yeah.
Was cool. Like they got smoking.
Yeah,
food,
it was a fun spot.
Everything was free. The comedy was funny. Yeah, they roasted.
If I see Frank's bit one more time, I'm gonna memorize it.
I'm so sorry.
Well, wait, I was going to then ask you, so wait, do you stay like where you always got new stuff?
I try to rotate new stuff in. There's certain stuff that's like
no, but it's new to everybody else. It's because I live here in LA. Like not everyone lives.
That's
in
the other
LA.
thing is every time you do it, it's also still new to so many people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not like
it's new to everybody except me.
Your thing that has like, oh, that's 6 years old. I've been doing it 6 years.
There's a few jokes that have definitely probably been.
But like I was telling you, I know all of David Spade's set.
Yeah.
I know all of his set already. You know.
Good that you stay with
I mean, I just started doing some new shit. I
gotta go check it out. You gotta invite us to go check it out.
The cat stuff, and then
the cat ones where they sucking your nipples, right?
And then you hate that one? That's so funny. I know, it's so funny. And then I have another one. The new one I'm doing is about the police officer lady.
I don't think I've heard that one yet.
Oh, okay, that one's actually pretty
fun. I need to see that one live.
That's good. Yeah. All right.
Latino pride, baby. Let's go.
All right. Thank you so much, dog. You want to plug anything? Right. I got to get rid of
you guys. That's it.
Hell yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you, man.
I fucking love you, dog.
Right.
Well, you're back by popular demand.
Wait.
What?
It's the 18th of February, so less than 2 months, free seed day.
Yeah,
Oh,
April 15th, you
yeah.
guys. Tell your favorite breeder. Masonic Smoker Podcast, Patreon. Make sure you guys go support. We slashed the prices on the fanny pack and the action figure. There's only a few left. Go grab yours at MasonicsOnFairfax.com. Shout out our number one sponsor, Central Coast Garden Products. Shout out Frank Castillo. Thank you, buddy Kilowatt Ben, for coming in again. I hope you guys get in tune. We cover the whole crack era epidemic history.
Yeah, do that.
All in one nutshell, baby. Let's
I know
go.
some people live through it. I meet around here. Not everybody's young. I know some guys lived right through it.
No,
with me.
it's good to it's good to it's good to know our history.
Thank Diana for the.
You okay?